My name is Alyssa Robinson, and I am here with our senior pastor, Reverend Daniel Humbert. And Go Beyond is a time that we come together to talk about the message from Sunday and try and dig deeper into what this message means for us and how we can live it out throughout the week and taking church beyond Sunday mornings or whatever time you watch church these days or participate in worship. So this worship series is called Unstoppable Christmas, and that resonates on so many levels. And this week we focused on peace, unstoppable peace. And so today we are going through the discussion questions from the Huddle guide that is available to you. It's a link that's included in the description of this video, depending on where you're watching. It's either above me or below me. So I hope you'll click into that and look through the questions and think about asking them around the kitchen table tonight, and let us know if you have some great conversations that come out of it. But we'll start off with the first question from that Huddle discussion, which is, what brings peace to your heart?
Yeah, so number one, again, thanks for always doing the Huddle guide. I think this is great, right? It helps us generate conversation among ourselves and then, of course, with other folks. I do want to encourage folks to use the Huddle guide every single week. It's just a way to talk faith and to share faith together. So I kind of look at this on what I call two levels. One is sort of the little things that just help me know peace, that is to say, God is for me in this internal sense of tranquility. And one is kind of what I call bigger picture. And for me, the sort of little things are just and I say little, I hesitate to use that word now, but it's just things like personal devotion time, quiet time with God, things that kind of connect me with God, whatever that is. Sometimes that's in nature, sometimes that's in relationship with people, and sometimes that's in Bible study and or prayer. But then on the bigger level, it's like when I witness that God's kingdom has just sort of infiltrated where we are, what we're doing. And those are moments in time. That's like when I see somebody caring for somebody else, or when I encounter somebody demonstrating tangible acts of love, or when I encounter something that just makes your heart go, wow, that was really cool. And in all those moments, I experience peace, just this inner sense that all is well, and it's a good day or a good moment. So that's what it is for me.
Mine is kind of weird. It sounds depressing, but I promise it's not. And it's kind of at a macro level of, you hear, so they've interviewed astronauts who have gone into outer space, and when they see the view of the world from outer space, they always talk about this feeling of like, nothing matters. We're so small. We're just a blip. And I feel like sometimes when I'm able to take a deep breath and have that moment of like, none of this matters. Like, like in the grand scheme of things, I am a blip in the history of this universe. And why do I get so worked up over little things? Why do I get so frustrated? And I think that sometimes it's calming and it's peaceful for me to remind myself and humble myself and say, hey, in the grand scheme of things, Alyssa, you don't matter as much as you think you do. But it takes some of the pressure off.
So the good part of that is you don't matter, but the good part of that is as well, you do matter, right? I mean, I hope you know that, right?
Yeah. I know it's hard to express it in a way that makes sense. Maybe somebody else who's watching is like, oh, I felt that too. I hear what you're saying, but
if you hear that and want to respond, y'all respond, tell us something.
yeah. So question number 2 is, how can you bring peace to others? Probably not telling them that it doesn't matter. None of this matters. It probably isn't the best way.
That might not be the best way, right? Yeah. You know, this is hard, I think. I don't know who asked this question, but I need to talk to them about that. I think it has to do with relationship, how I interface with people, how I encourage or not, right? Or how I help people to know that they matter or not, or how I help people So for me, peacemaking, which I think this is what this is, Pastor Doug has done a good job this week of asking this question: are you a peacemaker or a peacekeeper? And personally, I want to be a peacemaker. It's not that I don't want to keep peace, but it's that I want to help create peace. And so for me, the things that I can do, I guess, are how I interface with people, how I help people, how I help people encounter God through what I do and what I say. And to me, that macro level as well of just creating peace in relationships. And I think I love that it's an old song. I say old, I mean, it's a 20th century song, but I think it comes from the 60s. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And I just think that's so true. It has to begin with us, and we can't keep sort of pawning it off on somebody else. It has to be in the way that I connect with others, the way I care for others, the way I demonstrate to others that they matter, because they matter to God. And so I think that brings peace as well.
I think that I've been told by people that I have a calming presence, but it's never made sense to me because I'm not a calm person.
See, I find you a calm person. Maybe interiorly you don't feel calm, but I
Maybe.
find you a calm person.
But I think that one of the best ways I've found to bring peace to others is to not be reactionary,
Mm.
and to take in information that's being presented to you in a calm way, and almost, this is so eight of me, in an unemotional way. Take in the information in an unemotional way and process it, and then let emotions come in later. But I think that that's sometimes can be peaceful for people, especially if they're being overwhelmed by their emotions.
Yeah.
It doesn't help for them to bounce up against another person who is reacting to those emotions.
Yeah.
So being emotionalist can be a good thing sometimes. I feel like I'm using this episode to fight for myself.
Take it where you can get it, right? You, you
But
know,
I think it's big to not just immediately react to whatever's being told to you, and just to kind of sit back and take it in.
oh no, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure your dad learned this in his own training for his line of work, right? Because we've learned it in pastoral care, is that both in family systems theory and just in caring sort of counseling concepts, is to be the non-anxious presence in the room, right? To sort of quell whatever concerns there might be, because I mean, as you point out, it's so helpful to others to be non-anxious as much as you can possibly be non-anxious. When people get all concerned, I love Howard Hurlbut used to say this. I'm sure he probably still says it when he was teaching people how to fly. He would always say, when all else fails, just keep flying the plane. So, when the altimeter goes out, or you're losing fuel, or when all else fails, just fly the plane.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So the last question from today's huddle discussion: why is peace critical to building God's kingdom?
Oh man. Well, so I think God's kingdom is built on peace. I think that's what Jesus came to bring. And I think for many of us, myself included, we often lose sight of this, that, man, number one, we're responsible for helping to build the kingdom. But number two, it's built on peace. I think among many reasons why Jesus said, according to Matthew's gospel, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God, is because it's a primary work of those of us who are followers of Jesus. And I'll be the first to own, as a one on the Enneagram, that I get angry real easy and I get frustrated real easy when I see either injustice or when I see things that just aren't going what I call right. And so I have to fight against my natural inclination, which is to get ticked off and call you out and to tell you how wrong you are, versus just sort of, again, being that non-anxious presence and trying to help people see the bigger picture and help point people to the Prince of Peace, Jesus, because that's what he came to bring. He brought this whole sense of God is with us and for us. And I happen to believe that's a peaceful concept and that it's foundational to the kingdom. So for me, that's why it's critical to building the kingdom of God.
So help me understand, because this Sunday in this Sunday's message, you talked about inner peace.
Hmm.
So for building God's kingdom, what's the role of inner peace versus outer peace? Because I think a lot of times when I had read Isaiah 11, which is what you read from this Sunday, I'm thinking about, like you mentioned before, making peace, going outside of yourself, and the lion lays with the lamb, and how are we bringing people together, and that sort of harmony outside of myself. But where does inner peace come in?
Well, I think much like when Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, and he's quoting, the Hebrew law, peace is the same way. I cannot make peace with others unless I have first found peace within. And so it's kind of, for me, it's like a building block. So if I can find inner peace, then I'm going to be able to help others find peace as well. But if I don't have that internal peace, guess what's not forefront of my mind? I don't give a flip about anybody else or whether they're experiencing peace or how I can help other people experience. I'm just worried about the inner anxiety in my own self. So for me, inner peace is the precursor or the building block to the outer peace or the exterior peace to build God's kingdom.
See, what I like about that is it kind of gives permission to focus on ourselves and our relationship with God before, because I think sometimes we feel like it is our duty as Christians to go out and make this peace and make it happen. But if you don't have that inner peace and you're going out and trying to create harmony among other people, we can do more damage than good
Oh,
that way.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just like the age old deal with regard to flight attendants on a plane about putting that oxygen mask on yourself first. If you happen to have a kid with you or somebody else who couldn't do it, right? Put it on you first so that you can then help the other. And it's the same way with peace and or our own spiritual strength, right? Is we got to work on us first in order to help others. Absolutely.
Well, those are all of our questions today. So I would love for y'all to leave in the comments, what are some ways that you seek inner peace? Do you have a daily meditational practice that you do? Is it certain music that you listen to? Is it time spent in nature? What do you do to try to achieve inner peace? And I hope to hear from you and maybe give me some tips on what I can do, is why I'm asking. But thank you for joining us for another episode of Go Beyond. And you can catch all previous episodes at tmumc.org/go beyond.